How's it going, guys and girls? So today I thought I'd bring you a video of making a pulley rig, how me and Dad makes them. Trying to catch Dad on the same day for me and him to be filming is a bit tricky, especially over the last few weeks. So I thought I'd just sit down in my little office, I'm going to call it. If it is quite echoey, I do apologise. It's not exactly made for filming, but you know, it is what it is. I'm hoping the footage comes alright. So I'm going to start off with, I make 4-foot pulleys. They're between 3.6 foot and 4 foot. Over the 4 shown place like that we use 3.6, and most other places we use 4 foot. Sometimes on say like Friars Point we have used our 4 short rigs, but I'm going to start making them a little bit longer. When it comes to overhead casting, it is quite hard to cast a 5-foot pulley rig, as you can understand. I would use a up and over, but I just love using the pulley rig, so I just make them about 4 foot. I've got plenty of rays on them anyway, so it's not like they don't work. So I got my tape measure ready, so I can measure, you know, the line, how much I'm going to use onto that. I'll show you the line I'm going to be using now. I showed this line in one of the videos, I think. It's ASO Classic £80. We got that stuff there, and then I've got this other stuff here, which I'll stretch over. I forgot to bring it out. Shock leader line in, well, rig body I should say, in £75. We use that as well, but just for the extra strength. Especially for some of the places we're fishing, £80 line. I just do prefer to use that stronger line just in case we do hook a decent conger or a decent blonde ray or something, and we've got more of a chance getting it in. I'm not saying it's £5 is much difference, but who knows, it probably is. So what I'm going to start off doing first, I'm going to tie my hooks on first. So grab your panel hook, thread it up the line. Make sure when you do it as well, you go for the back of the eye towards your point. So you go that way, go up, do that, and then grab your other hook. We're using Varivas Aberdeen's 3/0s, especially for the rays and stuff. If we're going for the smooth ones, we use a 2. So there's your hook. What I'll do now is just tie so basically how it works is all, if you had quite thin line, you could do say a blood knot, but you do say 5 turns, or you could do a grinner knot, use 5 turns. With £80 line, it is more recommended, the less knot, rather thicker the line basically, the less knot you need. So I like doing a 3-turn blood knot. Some people don't like the blood knot, but personally I've never had an issue with the blood knot coming undone, snapping or anything like that. So I'm going to keep using it until disaster happens, I suppose, but I've never had anything go wrong with it. So 1, 2, 3, and then just back for the hole which you've made. So you have, like say, like literally a loop in the line there. Put it down nice. Leave a nice tag end on the end of it as well. So when you're whipping your bait on, me and Dad have showed you before, it was an idea from Gareth Griffiths. We've taken on board as well. So when you're whipping your bluey and squid on, that basically stops it sliding off as well. So it helps out. And then pull your knot down in. Always make sure you wet your knot. Don't matter what type of fishing you're doing, you could be float fishing, carp fishing, sea fishing, any type of fishing, even shark fishing. Wet them knots. Give it a good pull down. Ignore the state of my scissors. My scissors, I should say. and then where you got your tag end there, just cut it the same length as your hook. Basically, you don't want it dangling, you know, like that. That's a bit silly, especially when you're trying to wrap it up. I've just snapped my my pair of scissors. Even more, never mind. It is what it is. So basically, that's the hook length done. That's the easy part. The whole rig, personally, is really easy. If you can't make one, you can buy them. At the end of the day, you go onto Vios, Dean Booker sells them, many other people sell them, but if you like making your own rigs. So basically guys, that's your hook length cut, that's 4 foot. It was a bit difficult to try and show you me cutting the hook length on the tape measure because I had to put it on the floor, but you get the gist of it. It's very easy to do, just measure it, 4 foot, cut it, done. Let's chuck that on the floor, so it's nice out of the way. Next piece then, you do your rig body, same again. I like to use the same line as what I would make my hook length out of, which is on the floor, 80 pound line, same again. So let's tie the first swivel on first. So me and Dad use the Trident clips. It's basically a swivel with a clip on the end. I really do recommend them. They're not expensive. They're probably cheaper than the like the Gemini swivel. These type of ones. Let me get one out of the box. We do use these as well. There's nothing at all wrong with them. They just work out more expensive. So it's got basically a swivel with a clip on the end of it. So these Trident ones are practically the same thing. It's just it's got a clip on the end, and then you've got your hole where your knot goes, but it's got like a curved edge on it, so when your knot sits into it, it sits nice and snug. We find them a lot better for the rig part of it, the hooking your weights onto. So same again, just 3 turn blood knot. Try again. 1, 2, 3. Back to the loop. Like I said, good wetting. Always works best when it's wet. I'll grab one of these just to I haven't actually got my puller tool because my fishing box is actually at Dad's house. So clip it on. You don't have to use one of these. Basically it's the same version as that pretty much. It's just a bigger version. I can't remember what these big clips actually used. I'll have to have a look. I don't think I've actually ever used them. I just use them for the putting knots down. Make sure it's nice and tight. If you ever look at your knot as well, and it looks a bit, a bit thick, and it's like cross-threaded, and it just doesn't look right, just cut it up and do another one. Sorry guys, making a right mess here, aren't I? So same again. I'm going to cut this to length and I'll bring it back. So same again guys, that's the rig body cut to length, 4 foot. Obviously with a pulley rig you'll have your hook length actually shorter than your rig body. So when it comes over, the swivel has got a bit of gap. When I've made it, obviously I'll show you, it's got a bit of gap between it. Next piece then is a nice gem-like bead, if I can show you that. I might have to tilt the camera down. So next piece now guys, so I've just cut the rig body. With the rig body you will have the hook length shorter than the rig body, so when it loops over and you've got your top piece, you'll have a bit of gap. When I've made it, I'll show you, you'll have your swivel stay here and another swivel at the top. So the next piece then is going to be a bead. Me and Dad like using the black Gemini beads. No like reason why we like using them. We just do. Nice black bead, 6mm. We tend to use the 4mm ones as well. My last order, I actually ordered 6mm just to try them. But a bead is a bead. The only downside to a bigger bead that I know is it's more likely to get stuck in weed. But come the winter time, we're not really gonna have to worry anyway. Thread the bead through. That's your bead going on. That goes down to where your knot is. So it's gonna look like that. So you can have a bead, then your knot, then the clip. Then when you go back up, you thread a swivel, one of these swivels, 100-pound swivel, down the line. I think these are actually 140-pound swivels. So you thread it down the line, down it goes. I'm quite far away from the camera, so I can't really see. Not the camera side, the actual swivel in the line. So there we are, you thread it down all the way, so then you're going to end up looking like that. Like I said to you guys, they're very easy to do. It's not rocket science. Some people might, if they got bad eyesight and stuff, especially some of the holes on them, they are quite small. That's the only part you might struggle with. So just thread it through. Same again, slide them all the way down. Voila, done. So that's basically half the rig done. It's probably more than half the rig done, to be fair. All I've got to do now is tie the swivel on the top end. Just literally a normal swivel, that's all you need. Another 140-pound Gemini swivel we're using. Had to think what I would call it. 140-pound Gemini swivel. All you gotta do is just tie it on. Literally, another blood knot or any type of knot you like using. If you're just starting out, you can use blood knots. If you can use a grinner knot, you can use any type of knot really, within reason. And they shouldn't snap. Like I said, as long as it's an actual fishing knot, you can get away with it. My two favourite knots to use are the grinner knot and the blood knot. I know there's millions of knots out there, like the spider web knot and whatever you call it. Them sort of knots. Haven't really tried them, so I can't say much about them. Give it a nice pull, lovely jubbly. It's not going to snap. If it snaps, it's 80-pound line. If a human can snap it, there's some type of fault with the line itself. Because I'm not saying I'm like Eddie Hall. I'm not a strong person, but I'm not weak to say the least. If I can't snap it, really, any type of fish is not going to really snap it, I suppose. Unless it's a big massive Kong deal, or there's some type of reason behind it why it's snapped. Grating it against the rocks or something, or a Kong is bit straight through it. Most rays, or 90% of rays, ain't going to bite through 80-pound line. Let's be honest, whenever you have the rays bite through line, it's very rare. Probably maybe never happened, I don't know. So your next piece then, all you gotta do is, let me cut that tag end off. We don't like to cut too close to the knot. And there's only one reason behind it, is if that knot did slip for any type of reason, I've got a little bit of tag in there, just enough hopefully to get that fish in. I've never really had any knot slip, but it's always been, what if it did slip? Under pressure or anything like that, at least I've got that backup just in case. If it does slip, 9 times out of 10 it is going to catch itself again, before it comes undone. But like I said to you, I've never had one slip, so touch wood doesn't happen, but it's always a backup. So then all I gotta do now is just tie my main line, or my hook length I should say, to that. Grab my hook length, on the floor. So what I got to do now, guys, is tie my hook length to the swivel, this end of the swivel, not this end of the swivel. Give them a tie on, same again, another blood knot. Like I've said probably about 20 times, use whatever knot you want. Tuck it back through. Well, I'm not trying to teach people to suck eggs or, you know, things that you already know, but at the end of the day, if you're just starting out or you're just interested how we make our rigs, I'm just demonstrating a video of how we do it. So again, pull them both really tight. I like to get my nail in the top of there. I haven't got much nails, but you know what I mean. My fingers, just to pull that knot down a little bit further. Gives the tag end a nice little pull. And then do that. Good pull down onto it. I do need a new pair of scissors, I'm not gonna lie. So that's that piece done. Lovely jubbly. All I've got to do now is attach one of these Trident rotary clips. So how this works is, if I had a lead, it would be handy. Your lead goes onto there, that clips back up, and then you clip this to this, and then you clip this bit onto your hook. So you bait it beyond your hook, obviously, and then it's nice and streamlined, ready to be cast out. And then what I was talking about with having a bit of, there we are, so that's your swivel. There's a bit of a loop there. It's a very clever rig. There's no rig out there really that's as clever as that. Especially how basic it is as well. It's not, you know, exactly a complicated rig, I'm gonna say. For how simple it is to make and how effective it can be, there's no other rig out there that's, in my eyes, as good as it. The up and over rig is a very good rig. It's a little bit more complicated to make, or a bit more complicated to make really. But for mine and Dad's fishing, we don't really use them much. It's very rare we use them. We have used them over the barrage, trying to catch the rays and stuff, because they reckon they actually sit in the tide better when you're up high. I don't know if that's true, but that's what we've been told. So that is basically our pulley rig that we make. 3 O's hooks. Like I said, if we go for the smooth ones, we go for the 2 O's, and we do use these with, say, 60-pound line. Same thing with small hooks for the flatfish and stuff. Now you might be thinking, why are you using, I don't know, say a 4-0 hook? Well, sorry, a size 4 hook I should say, not a 4, it would be a massive hook, that was, wouldn't it? Size 4 hook for flatfish. Over the foreshore, you've got the rocks in front of you, and then you've got your mud. We don't want it, especially like a 3-hook flapping rig, a 3-hook flapper rig I should say. We don't want to get stuck in the rocks when we're bringing the flatties in, so we use small hooks, same rigs, less obviously poundage line, because they're not really going to need 80-pound line for a flatfish, let's be honest. And we do really well in the winter on them, especially over the birds. On the normal part of the foreshore, we tend to get more rays over there, or eels, but on birds we get loads of flatfish. So like I said, we use exactly the same rigs, just obviously not the tag end bit, but we need that. And we use them for the flatties. We do use free up flappers and stuff, mainly over the barrage, places like that. But our favourite rig at the moment, especially last winter, was this rig with smaller hooks. And for 90% of our fishing, we use pulley rigs, 3-hook flapper rigs, 2-hook flapper rigs. What else do we use? Up and over rigs. There's not many rigs we use, because we always use these. It does everything we need. Smooth on fishing, ray fishing, like I said, flatfish fishing. We've got loads of flatfish on them. I've even caught cod on a normal pulley rig. I haven't caught many cod in my life. Well, actually, I've only got one cod in my life, to tell you the truth. Dad's caught loads of cod in his life. But years ago, I don't think they used pulley rigs. They obviously had their own type of rigs. I'm not sure when the pulley rig actually came out, but I don't think when Dad was fishing, 30, 40 years ago, whatever, he was using these type of rigs. I'm not sure. So yeah, basically that is the pulley rig. That's Team Shepherd's rig. It's very basic, very easy. It's not a complicated rig to make, and it's just so effective. The amount of fish we've caught, and it's all down to this rig. There's no faults with it. I haven't got any faults at all about the pulley rig. So this is the Team Shepherd rig. We'll see you soon, guys. Team Shepherd.